Alright everyone, we start out today with the verdict fallout. Of course, day 4 of the Donald Trump verdict. 4 days into literally the history of the United States being made in real time because it's never happened before. As predicted, the first poll that takes into consideration the post-verdict period coincides roughly with what I expected, which is, link in the description, Trump is ahead by a point in that poll. That's exactly the same as what I predicted would happen. There is no bump for Trump. There's no bounce for Biden. It doesn't change the metric at all because the thing is that 90% of the population has already decided who they're going to vote for. So who cares? There are some independent voters that will be swayed, but then when you look at that cohort, some of those people will be swayed in Trump's direction. Some of them will be swayed in Biden's direction. It's simple math. I mean, it's very simple to understand. The fact is that this verdict did nothing. It did nothing within the polling, exactly as predicted. I expected, maybe a half a point extra for Trump or something minor like that. It helps him in some of the swing states. It's definitely good. I don't think that it goes against him. But it's going to be a diminutive number of people that actually care about that because most people already made up their minds who they were voting for. Again, you can take that link. Real Clear Politics is really great. They've got like a rolling average sort of thing going on. And so you can check them at your leisure. It'll automatically live update. I use them instead of Nate Silver's aggregation service because he cooks his polls. Well, RCP doesn't. It doesn't even balance for methodology. That can be a problem at times, by the way. I would expect if the election were held today, post-verdict, Donald Trump would win. He would win handily. I would expect him to win one of the 4 lean blue states, New Hampshire, Maine, Minnesota, Virginia, that seem to be in play. I would expect him to win at least 4 of the battleground states. And, by the way, Georgia and North Carolina are not on that list. Those will go for Trump in the end. He would have to fuck up royally in order for them not to do so. That's just the long and short of it. The fact is, this election is basically Trump's to lose. It's going to be difficult for him to lose the election. I give him a 90% chance of winning right now, and things are moving even further in his direction. I can't see any methodology by which Joe Biden, unless there's a big sea change, can actually win the election at all. I can't see what states he would hope to win he can win the entire Rust Belt. It wouldn't matter. Without Georgia and North Carolina, okay, that gets Trump beyond 230. With Arizona and Nevada increasingly looking off the table, I give Arizona swing state status because of Maricopa. But with Nevada out of the running, okay, that gets him to roughly 240. That's pretty close. He needs a couple of states. And there are 4 states that lean blue that were not competitive, by the way, in 2016, that appear to be in play. Well, then where the hell are these votes for Biden? There's nowhere to actually grab them up. There's not enough states. Unless you magically make a couple more. Maybe the Democrats' next strategy will be making states out of thin air or reallocating electors or something like that. The verdict has not changed the metric of the race. This is exactly what I predicted. And I think I'm the only one that really predicted that there would be no real change whatsoever. In the first poll that we have post-verdict, it shows exactly the same lead that Donald Trump was already enjoying. It's a minor lead. It's a small one. But it doesn't show any trajectory. It doesn't show any real difference or anything like that, as predicted. It doesn't show any bump for Biden. It doesn't show any bump for Trump, as predicted. The problem, and people aren't analyzing this right, they think that the voting public is like a homogenized blob. And so when they try to analyze how they'll react to something, they don't take into consideration the fact that some people literally do not care about what the verdict is. 75-80% of the population already made up their minds in this election. The undecided voting bloc, even they tend to lean. People have already decided, yes, Trump is a villain, because they've been told that since the 2016 election, and so they can't vote for him. If he was found not guilty, that wouldn't have any impact either. Or maybe a diminutive one. Other people have decided that they're riding with the Trump train, like myself, and we're going to vote for Trump no matter what happens. You don't need to be a Republican, by the way, to fall into this category. Well, that's, again, the majority of the public that falls into that broad voting coalition, whether they're for or against Trump, and that's the other reason why he has an advantage. Here's the other thing, another pitch to voters. When we talk about politics right now, at least at the federal level in the United States, what do we typically digress to? We talk about whether someone is pro or anti-Trump. Nobody cares about Joe Biden now, do they? Poor man. I mean, he's the president of the United States, at least on paper. Nobody even gives a damn what he does. We don't even talk about voting in the context of Joe Biden at this point. It's like Trump has been president this entire time. Technically speaking, he has been. And so we analyze politics from that background. Donald Trump has a huge advantage going into the election. I expect him to win. I think I'm more certain than I was in 2020, when we had a difference of, 200,000 votes in a handful of key states, which all had a lot of mail-in ballots coming in at the last minute. How coincidental. I think that it's going to look even better for him than in 2016. Like, he's going to crush Joe Biden worse than he crushed Hillary Clinton. I think that that's likely. Ballot printers going burr aside, you don't have enough states, I think, at this point to actually do that in. With Pennsylvania partially defortified, Georgia and North Carolina definitely defortified, that gets you pretty close. You basically need to pick up one further state, and that's all you need. I think that Donald Trump is very likely to win re-election. Thank goodness, by the way, especially for my taxes. And that's just the long and short of it. I was looking at the first poll, post-verdict, and I said, oh, okay. I was shrugging my shoulders. I was not surprised. A lot of other people, I think, will be. There's no huge bounce for Trump, like, he gets indicted, he gets found guilty of felony charges, suddenly gains 5 points. If you looked just at the donations, you would think maybe that would be the case. Oh my God, such an outpouring of support. Yes, but most of those were Trump supporters to begin with. Some people would believe he collapses in the polls. You had that, Consult poll, I think it was? Like their flash poll right after the verdict, and they're like, oh, a significant minority of voters will now no longer countenance the concept of a Donald Trump ticket. Well, yeah, but most of them leaned against voting for him in the first place. That's the whole point. Lies, damn lies, and statistics, but sometimes you can hit the mark. I think I hit the mark on this one, and I don't believe that there's going to be any significant change in the polling, at least short term, because there will be change in the polling in Trump's favor, in Biden's favor. They'll go back and forth. But as far as the overall metric, there's been nothing at all. The first poll released that's been aggregated since the verdict shows absolutely no movement whatsoever. It's about as expected. That's about all. Peace out.